Did CaitlinClark really walk away from $50 million? That's not just bold, it's revolutionary. It's the kind of move that stops the sports world in its tracks. The league assumed a record-breaking paycheck would be enough to smooth over its mistakes, silence its critics, and lock in its brightest star. But instead, Clark's answer was simple and powerful: no. And that no spoke louder than any deal the WNBA has ever tried to push across the table. This wasn't just about money. It was about calling out a system that has repeatedly disrespected, endangered, and politicized her presence. They tried to package her value into a dollar sign, hoping she'd ignore the chaos, the targeting, and the double standards. But CaitlinClark isn't buying it. She knows exactly what she brings to the table, and she's not trading her voice, dignity, or independence for a check. Let's unpack what this blockbuster rejection really means. The WNBA leadership tried to present the $50 million deal as some sort of historic offering, a turning point. But to Clark, it looked more like damage control than progress. For a league that's failed to protect its top draw, allowing her to be repeatedly fouled, elbowed, and disrespected without accountability, the sudden generosity felt suspect. Clark has taken more physical punishment in 2 seasons than some athletes endure in their entire careers. Whether it was Bria's cheap shot, Sophie's full-body shove, or Lexi's brutal collision, the league's response has been tepid at best, non-existent at worst. Officials turned away, commentators brushed incidents off as just physical play, and the commissioner said nothing. And now they're surprised she won't commit long-term? Come on. Clark has endured not just on-court targeting, but off-court politics. When she became the face of rising ratings and sold-out arenas, instead of support, she got scrutiny. Instead of celebration, she got side eyes and shade. Certain media figures and players chose to spin her success through a lens of division, throwing around accusations and stoking racial narratives that painted her as a problem rather than an asset. The league, in its silence, allowed it to fester. So when they finally come crawling with a check, Clark saw it for what it was: an attempt to buy her silence, not earn her trust. And she wasn't having it. She's not desperate, far from it. Caitlin is already partnered with global brands like Nike, Gatorade, Wilson, Panini, and Stanley. Her off-court earnings eclipse what most players dream of. She's not struggling to make ends meet. She's choosing to bet on herself, not just financially, but ideologically. That $50 million wasn't life-changing for her. It was leverage. And she used it to send a message. A message that says she's not for sale, especially not by a league that's failed to protect and uplift her. But this goes deeper. Think about how this deal lands in locker rooms across the league. Veterans who've spent a decade grinding for modest salaries suddenly watch Clark get offered an 8-figure contract after just 2 seasons. The resentment, the whispers, the tension, it's all real. And Clark saw it coming. Signing that deal wouldn't just tie her to the league. It would have lit a fuse in every locker room. She would have been blamed for inequality she didn't create, targeted even more on the court, and labeled a sellout off it. So, by walking away, she not only kept her freedom, she might have prevented a civil war within the league itself. Yet, the most revealing part is how the WNBA reacted. The moment news broke that Clark turned down the offer, social media exploded. Fans argued, critics speculated, and the league panicked. This wasn't just about losing a player, it was about losing control. They thought they had her boxed in, but she flipped the script. She reminded everyone that influence doesn't come from contracts. It comes from credibility. And right now, the WNBA has little of it. Because, let's be honest, the inconsistencies in officiating, the lack of protection for star players, the selective media narratives, it's all chipped away at the league's integrity. Clark's rejection brought that dysfunction to the surface in a way no one could ignore. This isn't just a story about sports, it's a story about power. For decades, players have begged for better treatment. But now, for the first time, the league needs a player more than she needs them. And that terrifies leadership. Clark's popularity is unprecedented. Her games break attendance records, her merch flies off shelves, and her presence elevates the league's profile like never before. When she speaks, or doesn't, people listen. Her refusal to sign that contract is making headlines not just in sports, but across entertainment and business media. Everyone wants to know what she'll do next. Will she go overseas like some legends before her? Will she double down on endorsements and skip the league grind entirely? Or will she wait them out, forcing real reform before she even considers coming back? The WNBA's leadership doesn't have those answers, and that's the problem. They thought they had time. They thought a check would buy loyalty. They were wrong. CaitlinClark just shifted the power dynamic of women's basketball, and the ripple effects are only beginning. What's even more compelling is that this isn't just about her anymore. It's about every player who's been mistreated, every fan who's questioned the league's decisions, every sponsor wary of controversy. Clark's decision lit a fire under all of it, and she did it without press conferences, without drama, just a simple no, a no that forced the league to look in the mirror. That $50 million wasn't a reward. It was desperation disguised as generosity. It was the league begging her not to expose how fragile things really are. But she exposed it anyway just by walking away. She showed that no amount of money can make up for a lack of safety, respect, or fairness. And that kind of courage, it can't be faked. The media tried to spin it both ways, some calling her selfish, others calling her brave. But the truth is simpler. She's strategic. She knows her worth, she knows her influence, and she's not afraid to use it. While the WNBA scrambles to figure out how to regain control, Clark is doing just fine. Her sponsors are thrilled, her fans are loyal, and her platform is growing by the hour. She doesn't need the league to be a star anymore. She already is one. And that's what hurts them the most. They tried to frame her as the future of the league, but now she's the face of something bigger, a resistance to mistreatment, a symbol of self-worth, a player who refuses to play by broken rules. That's not just a move, that's a movement. And now the ball's in the league's court. Will they change? Will they admit failure and rebuild from the inside out? Or will they let their most valuable asset walk, knowing they might not get another like her? Either way, CaitlinClark isn't waiting around. She's proven she doesn't need permission to succeed. And that $50 million rejection? It's not just a headline, it's a warning shot, a signal to every athlete, every league, and every fan that respect must be earned, not bought. The question now is whether the WNBA can rise to the moment or crumble without her. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're following this story, stay locked in with Hollywood Buzzing, because this saga is far from over.